Boom, 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 boom. As usual. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? This is the Sports My Love Language podcast, and we're here with the crew. I'm super excited, ladies and gentlemen. This is our season finale, man. We had a great run this year. A lot of awesome episodes, man. Everybody brought the energy. I absolutely love the cast of characters we put together, man. As usual, we got our man PD Pablo, aka El Schefter. We got my man Dre. We got the Sean. We got Javito. And any second now, we got our boy joining us, my man AK. What do you call it? There we go. Here we go. What do you call it? We're ready to start. Yo, we got a huge program here today, only because it's the end of the year, man. It's the end of the year. And we were really thinking and talking about, we were going to do like a recap. And then instead we decided, yo, everybody pick something this year, whether it's a league, sports, anything within sport, the nature of sports that stood out to you, that defined this year for you, that stood out above everything else. And there's a lot to pick from. You know what I mean? So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome all of you. I'm your boy Dropping Dimes. This is my cast of characters. And like as always, man, from day one, we told you, this is welcome to our living room. This is a group of friends sitting around the living room, kicking the shit about sports, man, because each and every one of us feel like sports is our love language. We want you to come in, welcome. We want comments, share, let people know about us, man. Our page and our group is growing, really fast, and we expect big things coming, and we'll be on all platforms very soon. But we want to welcome you in, man. We want people to contribute. We want people to be involved. So join us on this little venture here. As always, man, we go off the beaten path. Regular sports, what they'll do is they'll beat something to death, man. It's either LeBron, Brady, Cowboys, and they beat it to death, especially if it's a slow news day. What I've been able to do is I've been able to build a cast of characters that when we get together, they not only talk about a subject, but they decide, all right, look, I'm going to look at it from another angle. I'm going to approach it from a different way. And what I love about it is it goes deeper and it takes a deeper dive into a lot of the shallowness that's involved in sports today. All right. So one of the things I want to do is I want to start with my man, El Schefter, PD Pablo. Let us know, man, what in sports this year really stood out and said to you, this is what I'm going to remember for 2021 when it relates to sports. Let us know.
So I was thinking about this and I actually came up with a couple, and I do apologize if any of you guys were going to use this one, but I think it's obvious as hell. Because of COVID, right, last year in a lot of all sports, football, basketball, there's no fans in attendance, right? It was all shut down. League still played, NBA in the bubble, NFL in basically empty stadiums. So when the Super Bowl came around and Tampa Bay Buccaneers made it to the Super Bowl in their hometown, because that's where it was this year, I think it was almost appropriate that they had fans there. A lot of them were their hometown fans, and it was almost just like representing the NFL fans to say one of the teams in the Super Bowl is in their home city, and at least they get to have a good chunk of their fans there, as many people as they could. And I think given the fact that, like I said, there were no fans playing throughout the year, attending throughout the season, I think it was almost right that was kind of the scenario that happened, that the Bucs made it to the Super Bowl, and in front of their home team. And the other one that kind of related to me even more for fans, for those of you that are pro wrestling fans, same thing was WrestleMania, which is ironically also in Tampa. If you watch WWE, they were doing their weekly shows in empty studio, right? In empty arena, whatever, right? And for that business, that's a killer. Yeah. Because if you're a fan of that business, it's crowd reaction that drives, whether they boo or cheer a character, right? So the fact that they were able to have WrestleMania with fans there, even was just as good, because that's what that business is all about. So I think the fact that in those two big events, they were able to have fans there, and it just made it really feel really good about it, And I would have felt really good about it, regardless of what home city would have been, if that home team would have made. I think it would have just felt good. Except Cowboys and Eagles. Sorry, guys. But I was just kidding, by the way. It would have just felt right if whatever the home city is and the fans get there. And I think that kind of defined that for me. Considering the difficulty that leagues and fans were having, this past year and a half.
Do you think? I have a question for you. Do you think that not having fans and the players kind of getting used to that atmosphere is the reason why home field advantage is not what it was or has been in the past?
Yeah, I think that's an impact for some like if we look at it in the NFL. For some places that we know, like the 12th man in Seattle, Kansas City, like those places that notoriously, having home fans there has an impact, against the other team. It may not apply to all 32, but it would definitely, I think, apply for those, that are well known. That having being there is loud as hell and you can't hear crap. So,
do you think that played a part? Do you think that played a part into how like teams Miami and Los Angeles specifically made the championship when they were in the bubble? They're like probably the two biggest party cities, right?
For basketball,
yeah, I just don't know their success in the bubble.
I think
nothing but hookers and cocaine.
Tyler Hero is on point when he doesn't have South Beach.
And who was upset that he couldn't be in either one of those cities is Stephen A. Because he loves to be back and forth between Miami and LA, and he couldn't do squat. He couldn't.
Let me tell you something. Hookers and cocaine will affect the betting line. I promise you, every single time, bro. All right, so
are you an alumni advisor to the Hurricanes or something?
Yeah, right.
Or a connection to.
What do you call me? I'm a booster. No. Hey, Drake, so what are your thoughts? What defines sports for you this year? Dre, you there?
Can't hear you, Dre.
Yeah, I think your noise. Double check your sound. We'll come back to you. Sean, what defines sports for you? What was the one thing that really popped off that defined the sports year?
The one moment I guess I would have to say pops up this year, which is like a defining moment in at least my sports, like as a fan, fandom, I guess you could call it, right? Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, announcing his retirement from college basketball. You're talking about a legend. You're talking about a GOAT. Like, I go over his statistics, 5 NCAA titles, made the Final Four 12 times in his career, 15 ACC tournament championships, almost close to 100 tournament wins as a coach. The legendary players that came through his program in and out, three-time Olympic head coach too, right? Olympic gold medal head coach. So Coach K retiring. I'm thinking back to my early childhood watching the old Duke teams, Christian Laettner and everything. You want to talk about, reliving, sports moments in your childhood. There you go. Like that's a defining moment in my year. He's going to be missed.
I don't think it's gotten enough. I don't think it's gotten enough, press. How important that is, man.
No, it really hasn't. It's been flying under the radar, which is crazy.
When you think back, college basketball, you can't. You know how they say somebody's legacy is defined if you could tell the story without mentioning. Can you tell the story without mentioning their name? And let me tell you something.
Not my generation.
Not tell the story of basketball, NCAA basketball, without saying Mike Krzyzewski. That is crazy that it's not getting more hype. And this is what I mean when I talk about how the mainstream media, right? The mainstream, like ESPN, you're going to tell me, I would hope that at some point they do a special, they do something for him. But, you would think they'd be tracking his career, like his ending, like they did Peyton Manning's, like they did Kobe's. You know what I'm saying? Like he does a tour where, every college kind of like offers him something, you know what I mean? But I don't see it personally. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. But Javito, what do you got?
So my defining moment is just the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship. Reason the small guy won, right? The small market team. So when I think a little bit of what's happening with COVID, with unemployment, the small guy getting more money now. You know what I'm saying? People basically leaving what they had to basically get better things. that's what I relate to as far as basically, my defining moment of what 2021 has brought. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of those people as well, right? I left my old job to basically a new job because it felt like, this is a good time to basically cash in, right? So the Milwaukee Bucks kind of did that, right? There was some luck involved. Kyrie Irving got hurt, you know what I'm saying? And they just willed their way to the championship after that. And then Giannis with a big game 7, 50 points, 14 rebounds, he just carried the team, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the underdog, the small market guy got basically one up on everybody this year,
You just made a dope, that's that point you just made right there. The small market. He basically gave a big FU to LeBron James.
He did it to LeBron James and he did it to Kevin Durant as well.
Right? Wasn't that what it felt like?
It felt like that's what I kept on saying throughout the whole time. I was like, listen, I know LeBron has 4, KD has 2, but that one is better than any of those championships, in my opinion. All right. I just got to give it to a guy that didn't go out there and say, hey, I need superstars to come and play with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just said, I'm taking what you're giving me and I'm going to put them on my back and we're going to try to go and win this, and he did. And because of that, it just felt like, that was my pretty much most defining moment of 2021, man.
Okay, what do you got?
I kind of had the same thing as Javito, man. I think, it's really interesting because when you look at the metrics of small market teams, the 10 smallest markets are New Orleans, Memphis, OKC, Milwaukee, San Antonio, Utah, Salt Lake City, Indiana, Charlotte, Portland, and Sacramento. They hadn't won. You take away San Antonio, you're going over 40 years without a championship. You look at Toronto, they won a championship, and then Milwaukee did the same. And I think that was to me the endearing moment of sports in 2021. And it's really interesting because to Avi's point, just to build on that, yeah, he could have left. Of course he could have left. In the NBA, nobody leaves. Everybody signs their first contract, right? Like you get your second contract. Everybody does their first extension because of the money with the team when they can do it. But then as you get closer to your second contract, you can choose whether to re-up or go or force a trade or however you want to run it. He chose to stay. It's interesting also, though. You look at it like Toronto and Milwaukee really needed the best competition they were going to face to be shorthanded to win. So even despite staying there, they still it used to be the luck you always need to be lucky to win, right? Like you have to be good and lucky. But it used to be the luck you needed was to keep your own players healthy, right? And be able to go in full force. Where now, for a small market team to win, you have to run into, like a team like the Nets that's missing one of their starters, one of their best players, or a team, that's missing one of their best players that go to State in the other case. So I find it interesting. I still don't think the setup is there for success because I'm not taking Milwaukee over the field. And if everybody's healthy, I'm not doing it. And I don't think they would have, they barely beat the Nets. So I think that's there.
Right.
As some honorable mentions, I think having a pitcher who can bat win the MVP is a pretty remarkable moment, right?
Yeah.
He changed the game. I mean, that guy, I think that's remarkable. And I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to have anybody else who can do that. I'm not as big a baseball guy as the other sports. I don't know if there's any other people on the radar from overseas. I don't think in America that are coming over to do that, but that was amazing. And then
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Major League Baseball missed out on an opportunity with that guy?
What kind of an opportunity?
What's that?
With Ohtani.
What kind of an opportunity do you mean?
With who? No, with Ohtani, the pitcher and hitter. What I'm saying is, I feel like baseball missed out. They have a bona fide superstar, right? And they pushed him, but I don't think they pushed him like they pushed Tatis. I don't think they pushed him like they pushed a couple of other players, bro. They missed out on an all-time talent. This guy's an all-time talent, man. And I think if they would have put the machine behind them 100%, they could have had a push similar to the even maybe close to like McGuire or Sosa, where they would have followed him with a camera, biography, recorded everything. He's every step of the way. You know what I mean? And made him a household name. He's a baseball sports fan kind of name. But if I ask somebody across the street, hey, you know who that? Now, who the hell's that? You know what I mean?
You're right.
If-
They need to make the playoffs. Trout gets the same kind of attention, right? And I just want to throw this in before we go to Dre. And that's a good point, Mike. Let's give some love to Jalen Suggs' shot for Gonzaga over UCLA. Fellas. I mean, that was crazy off the backboard. So those are my moments. And then obviously the biggest moment from the friends of mine who are Cowboys fans are going to be Dallas hosting the championship in 2022, because every time they win 10 games, we know that happens. Sorry,
Pretty
Sean.
much.
They got
Go
the
ahead,
defense,
what do you got?
right? They got
Bro,
the defense
all I
to
could do
it,
is
though.
root. All I could do is root, bro. That's all.
Yeah, right. He's just there.
All I could do is root, man. It's
Dre,
been a
what do you
long
got?
time. I'll take it.
Yeah, I got my most memorable, or what defines sports to me for the past year or 18 months or the COVID period, is the situation with the Brooklyn Nets. The irony of the situation that the Nets found themselves in with the Kyrie Irving situation,
Yes.
and how it looks like the holdout and the tightening up on the rules, and you're not going to be able to play unless you fully vaccinated and that kind of stuff. While COVID was at its lowest point at that time during the whole coronavirus pandemic period. At that time, when they were trying to lay those rules down on Kyrie, New York State only was the only state that was mandating that out of all the other states that have NBA teams. The NBA decided, listen, we're going to let the state run it, no problem. Now, at a time when COVID is high in all the states, now you're going to let an unvaccinated player come back to join the team that you didn't let him join when COVID was lower than it is now.
I just got to say one thing, Dre. Trust the science, bro.
Yeah. The shit is crazy, man. Sean, you know what I'm saying though? It's like, bro, you guys, you wanted to be an example. You're like, listen, man, Kyrie, you're not vaccinated. You can't be down. Stephen A. killed this man, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen A. killed this man, bro. And now it seems like he just wanted to be heard. The way he spoke the other day when he said he understands why they had to do what they had to do and whatever like that. Now Kyrie don't look that bad.
Nope.
I don't think I don't think he ever looked bad, to tell you the truth.
But the image, the you know what I mean, the narrative.
I got the narrative that they were trying to push on him. I got you. But to me, I was like, look, man, Kyrie's Kyrie, and Kyrie's been kind of like, you know,
he's eccentric, bro. He's the way he is.
There you go. He's eccentric. You know what I mean?
So
You know what I'm gonna say about that?
What?
This is exactly why we need the Sports is My Love Language podcast.
Right.
Because how many times did you hear or see? I remember very early on, somebody touched on this very subject, and I think it was Javi, said the same exact thing he said right now. Hey, man, you know, I'm not going to judge him. We've all kind of always taken that stance. We're not going to judge him. Let him, hey, you know, everybody's crazy
He's a
until they're
man,
not.
bro. He's a man. He's allowed to make his decision.
So
Everybody's crazy until they're not.
so from
And
a
right.
from
And he was proven he stood toe to toe with the machine, right?
Right.
And let me tell you something. What I'm learning is a lot of these media guys, well, they want to be in with the machine. That's how they get their inside scoop. That's how they get their information. So they got to kind of side with the league. Whatever the narrative the league wants to put out, they side with that narrative to make sure that they always get the inside scoop.
True.
You know what I mean? And that's
Sean,
why I say,
let's
like,
go speak, Mike.
yeah, that's why when we get together, we're like, yo, let's speak the real, bro. You know what? This guy's turning out. He stood up toe to toe with the machine, and he won. He literally won.
I don't think he won. I don't think he won. If Brooklyn didn't suffer those, you know, all those other players getting COVID, they would have never called him back.
No. So,
He would've
so,
never
But-
called him.
but
He
that-
didn't- he
so,
didn't-
so,
he
so,
didn't
from,
win
so
any-
from an,
he didn't win.
this is-
But they did.
The irony of it is why he won.
That's the
He's
irony.
back,
But
he's back because of COVID, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
still
the
not
irony.
vaccinated.
but he didn't win against his
So-
stance. He still looks like a dumbass for his.
from
for
it,
his
I'm
overall
a
pick.
Nets fan. I'm a Nets fan. So from my perspective, okay, I've been watching this from the beginning of the season, obviously.
Right.
And in the beginning of the season, they were preaching this whole, "Oh, you can't just play road games. We need you all in. It's a team chemistry thing."
Exactly. All
Okay,
in.
so now in the past month, they've been playing with dudes who like I couldn't even tell you who these people
Not
are.
even G
Yeah,
League guys.
like,
Not
yeah,
even
no,
G
they're
League.
like every day you come up, you're like, who the hell is this guy, bro? Who's
Yeah.
this guy? Who's this guy?
I
So,
was
like,
waiting
that-
for a
that
call,
whole
man. I was so
chemistry thing-
pissed, man.
That whole chemistry thing's out the door. Like they're playing survival of the fittest right now. They even had to forfeit 3 or 4 games, I think, because they had nobody to play. Not even G League players they didn't even have. They
Wow.
were
Right. They
leaving
didn't
out.
have G League guys.
Yeah, so I guess like hey, we got him signed. We're paying him money. Why we're using G League dudes? We can't even use them, and we have to forfeit games or reschedule games. Why not use him? Now this is me playing devil's advocate for the whole perspective of the whole
I'm
thing.
happy to see him. I'm happy to see him, brother. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
mad. It's just funny. The whole thing is just
No,
hilarious.
Of course. It's always when it's your perspective.
I think.
when
I think go ahead, Sean. Finish off.
No,
man.
it's always when it fits your argument. It's all good. It's all kosher. But when it doesn't, it's
Right.
out the window.
People
I gotta
rely
Right.
on
take.
their
I gotta
fans.
take on this. So we all know that Kyrie Irving doesn't usually play a full season, right? He's usually hurt. Something's wrong. Something
Yeah.
happens.
He just takes time off because he feels like it.
Yeah, and that too. The whole what was it? Prior to the before the bubble, he was talking about we shouldn't play the rest of the season
No,
because
he wasn't playing at all.
well, just mentally shot. You know what I'm saying? He just felt like mentally he wasn't
Yeah.
going to be able to play. But whatever the case may be, so I felt like what the Brooklyn Nets did was basically say, hey, you know what? He doesn't play a full season anyway. We kind of
Right.
need him for the playoffs. We kind of need him at the end. You know what? Yeah, don't play. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna sit you out because you're not vaccinated. They
We're
kinda
gonna
use the
conserve your body.
yeah, you're gonna conserve your body. Like to me, it was more of a ploy to get this guy back when it's time when they needed him, right? So right now, I think it's just going through the motion of getting him back into game shape. You know what I'm saying? Game shape so that he's ready for the playoffs. Because we know if he plays a full season, he usually doesn't make the full season.
That's definitely a conspiracy theory right there. You
How
never
How does
know.
that work,
Theory.
Javi? How does that work with him not being able to play home games though?
Yeah, he's not going to play home games. Hey, move him to New Jersey for the playoffs, and then you're set.
You're
You're all
not
good,
convincing
bro.
New York City out of anything.
Well, you know
All
what, bro? I'm gonna tell you like this.
Trade him
You'll
for
take
Jason
him.
Kidd.
If it's 3 games away, all you need to take is one of them, right? You should be able to win all your home games, right?
Should. Yeah.
You know,
Is
and
he more
Kyrie's
likely
gonna be
to-
fresh. Kyrie's
Is
gonna
he
be
more
fresh.
likely to be injured though? Like, is he more likely to pull a hammy because he hasn't been playing games?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you
regularly?
start right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why
You
you
know
gotta
why?
win right now.
You know why that doesn't work, and maybe in high school where you go both ways in football and shit like that, but professional sports fluidity, just for that reason, it wouldn't work because you would need to trust 2 different things on 2 different nights, and it would be too hard.
I
would love
think
to see them try it.
I think with the COVID, you got to throw the fluidity out the window.
Yeah,
sometimes.
man.
So
There's
I
no
think
fluidity
you have
at
to
all.
this
I'm
year.
willing to see them try, but what I'm saying is in the playoffs, that repetition,
The teams with the
Man.
continuity are the ones that make it. Yeah.
they're the
think
ones that get it. The ones that get boring are the ones that make it to the end.
That's why we were talking about the Bucks. What the Bucks had above everybody else was they had been playing together for a long time. And in a COVID
Right.
situation, in the bubble and all that stuff, what they showed was that came in handy. That fluidity, that cohesiveness comes. That's where it shows up.
Kyrie getting hurt.
Yeah, always. That's his thing. All right.
And
Kyrie getting hurt.
Harden was hurt too. He wasn't.
Yeah,
That was
but
a
I'm
good
saying-
take by Dre. I didn't even know that Kyrie went both ways.
No, I'm talking about like how
No,
somebody
no.
plays offense and defense in high school.
You missed the joke, bro. You know what he's trying to say.
I know what he's doing, man. He's got to get a good one in
He's a
there.
pitcher and a
Drake's
catcher.
like, I want no part of that joke. I want no
Yeah.
part of that.
He's a
Not
switch
at all,
hitter.
bro.
All right, guys. So, I was thinking about the whole thing, right? And I was thinking about this last year. What are some of the things we touched on, right? And I felt like one thing outside of, I try to avoid COVID, right? One thing that stood out to me, right, that in different sports, different levels of sports, different reactions to the people that stood out was mental health. I felt like this year, maybe not more than others, but it was more pronounced in the media, was the mental health aspect of sports. I feel like the whole Ben Simmons situation, I feel like Simone Biles, I feel like, some of the players in the NFL, Kyrie Irving, a lot of it was like an underlying theme this year where people made their mental health status known. And for the first time, I feel like in my lifetime, people stood on their own 2 feet and said, no, this is what I'm feeling. And I don't care what the backlash is. This is what I'm going through. I'm putting myself first. I don't ever see that happening in sports, ever. This is the first year that I can honestly say that to the level that I saw it, where across the gamut, it didn't matter what sport it was. We saw it in track and field. The girl smoked a little weed. Her mother had, her biological mother had died. She was like, yo, I broke down. What do you want me to do? And they put it out there, and we were faced with their humanity. We were literally faced with their humanity, and we had to sit there and decide, are they athletes, machines, or are we going to go with their human side? And I think for the first time, a lot of us picked humanity. A lot of us picked humanity. A lot of us looked at these situations. Now, there was a divide. Again, we all talked about the Ben Simmons situation, where we felt like he was using it as a ploy, as a tactic. And you know what I mean? As a ploy and as a tactic. So,
Trust the process.
Trust the process. But regardless, we all understood that even in that aspect, the topic was mental health. I want to know what you guys thought about that. Did you guys notice what I noticed? Because tell me another year where a player could stand up and say mental health, and the crowd and the audience and the fans would have been like, oh, okay, we understand. Never.
Right.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more, little by little, it's becoming more defined.
Yeah.
When, like you said in the past, someone would say, mental health, and be like, shut up, suck it up, right? But now, we're seeing different circumstances of mental health for different people from different sports. To your point, and for that to happen, those folks have to open up a little bit, as to what a little bit of what they're dealing with, right? Like you said, with Simone, it was a loss of the family on top of probably the normal pressure it is to be an Olympian and perform, right? And then like we didn't know what it was with Calvin Ridley. We didn't know, was it Lane Johnson, right? AK, right, for Philly, right, when he took a couple of weeks off. So I mean, you don't have to always know exactly what it is, but it's becoming more acceptable to say, okay, if someone is citing mental health, and they may give a little info, and you're like, okay, you know what, I've gone through a death in the family or whatever, or I know someone that did it. So because I think we're relating more. We're starting to realize that they are human and they're not just entertainment like it is at the circus, right? Just perform and that's it, and I go home, right? We're starting to really see them, and it kind of goes back to what we were saying, our topic from last week or the week before about how the access we have through social media, to them, how some people use it in a negative way to talk crap to them, and things like that. But at the same time, like, it was a double-edged sword. You can also see another side of them as well if they choose to show that. So I think little by little, it's getting there. It's getting there. Will it be accepted fully by society? Probably not. There's always going to be cynics. There's always going to be I don't give a shit. You're an athlete. Shut up and play. You play a game, right? There's always going to be those, And maybe in certain circumstances it's right, and others it won't be. It just depends.
I think what's unique is players now have a platform.
You were saying what unique is what?
To talk back to their critics. You could release a tweet. You can make a statement. You've never been able to do that in the past.
Yeah. It's good that they have their own platform, like you said.
And Ben Simmons is. We shouldn't even bring up his name when it comes to mental health because he's the guy who's trying to pull it over. Like everybody else.
He's a bitch.
Ben Simmons, Jesus Christ, yo.
You just gotta
Oh.
trust the process with the bitch.
What do you call it? All right, so
Yo, Dre's looks like he's Tony Soprano, bro. He's driving in the background, bro. I feel like we need like a theme music going, bro.
I was about to say
Seriously,
the theme music is
seriously,
so needed right now. Man.
got myself a gun. All right, so okay, one of the topics, Dre, I want you to take the lead on this one. About the sons of athletes and stuff like that. I think you were really eloquent in the way you told us about it yesterday. You really kind of articulated it. You know, I couldn't really get it out the way you did.
Yeah. So it's like the trend now, man, to see, and I'm happy to see it. It's like a lot of sons of former professional athletes now are following in the footsteps of their dad, of their mom, in JaVale McGee's case of his mom, because she was an Olympic performer. And I think that's great. But my question is, because I can think about Marcus Jordan and I forget the other Jordan's name, and that even proves my point even more.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Jordan. I want to know how much of what happens with the kids is nature and how much of it is nurture, like what comes after they're born and not just because they are who they are.
Yeah, that's a good one. So when thinking about it, I had to define some parameters. If the offspring is if their parent was an elite superstar like Jordan, I think nurture defines whether they succeed or fail. Because by default, that pressure is already there because of the eliteness of their parent. If it's like a Jordan, right? Maybe LeBron's kid, just any high-level superstar like that. But I think if the parent was a star or successful, but it's not that level, like Archie Manning, but you see his sons go higher. And I think that's the way I see it. So I'm saying like the higher the star, I think the less successful the son or daughter will be. But if it's average or good or whatever or known, but you weren't the top, I think their offspring will surpass it. And I think that's where it still will be nurtured to me. I think in both cases, because the way the pressure is applied, and then whether or not the desire of that child to surpass their parent's success.
Right.
If
So
they feel
I
like
agree.
they feel like they can't pass it, they're gonna fail.
Right. I agree with your point mostly, but then I think about Charlie Woods and the way he looks. Something's loud in somebody's background.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a good example.
So, because Tiger is at the pinnacle of golf.
Yeah. But we got to see how he deals with it. We haven't seen him yet attack it, right? Because he's still young. But we'll see.
That's true.
We'll see. I mean, looking at the way he played, right? Just that one time I saw him play last week, I think he looks like he can handle it.
So go in the history. Has there been a legendary player who had a legendary offspring that's been legendary? I can't think of any, right?
Somebody's got a background noise. A movie or something.
Yeah, but to your point, Sean, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
No, I can't either, right? Nobody. I mean, like you said, like some of the legendary kids that had like dads that played or whatever, they were like mediocre, right? Like
they were known, right? Known, but not considered the best that they're.
It's either one way or the other. They're either like mediocre players, outstanding offspring.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Guerrero, yeah.
There you go.
Right.
That's maybe one. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But so Vlad Jr. is individually successful, but are we just going to judge it on that, or like where do we want to judge? Let's say someone like Vlad Jr. compared to where as far as his dad got. I mean, he hasn't been on a team that's won a championship. Like, do we hold that as part of the standard?
No,
Nah, that's not. We're not going there.
No,
T.
and that's
We're
a question. That's
just
what I'm
talking
saying.
about. I'm talking about duplicity. Duplicity as far as, listen, man, your dad was in the league, and not because of any favors done, but
guy just
because
hit
of
us with a
your
fucking
actual
word, didn't he?
talent. What's that?
We're not talking about Julio Cesar Chavez's son now. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no. Hell no. Whoa. Floyd Mayweather.
I'm just talking about like the actual mirroring of what the parent did for the kid. Like, it doesn't have to be like you have to come and win a championship and stuff like that. Because then
Vlad Jr. is on that path where his father's well known.
Right.
He's well known, and he's holding it, right? Because he's
right.
I got one for you.
Right now.
I got one for you. Chris Collinsworth's kid. I seen him on
Right.
NBC doing something. He sounds just like the dad. It's like the same
Exactly.
Joe Buck.
thing. Joe Buck. Joe Buck. Yeah, Joe
Yo,
Buck.
wait.
bro.
Jennifer, shout out to Jen Vega. Couldn't be with us tonight.
Shout out to Jen.
Archie Manning, Hall of Famer.
That's true.
Right.
But
I mean,
Manning,
You got to battle. You got to battle. the
He
fact
was
that
just
these
on a
kids
bad
are-
team, though.
yeah.
Right.
Like Archie was just on a bad team. It's not that he sucked. It's just his
Yeah,
team
New Orleans was
sucked.
terrible.
Yeah, that was when
Yeah, they
New
were
Orleans Saints
terrible.
were just straight trash. All right, my
Right.
bad. Go ahead, AK.
Yeah, no worries, Javi. I was just saying, like, it's obviously nurture, right? And then some of these kids, all these kids grow up essentially with a silver spoon. Some of them don't want to put in that work, and then others are just,
Right.
they have the passion.
Yeah.
They have the passion and they
Passion.
want
Right.
to put in the work.
Absolutely.
So I think,
Right.
And nowadays, the
You know,
passion plus the resources. They got the resources.
And then-
I'm sure our buddy Mike. Well, that's what I was going to say. Mike would say it's definitely nurture because they have access to all the PEDs.
But then one more thing that I don't want to leave out with the topic.
Right.
I'm gonna say this.
But like, let's just talk about the Jordan kids, right? They
Right.
weren't physical specimens like their dad, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a little bit has to be like, like when it comes to basketball, like you better grow into a body like your dad. You know what I'm saying? Like
But
if Bronny doesn't grow into a body like 80% of what LeBron James, like he's not going to be anywhere near. And again, we're talking about possibly the best two that ever played the game as well. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I think the standards alone are impossible.
I think
Magic-
we're spoiled.
Magic-
I think
Magic-
we're spoiled by the Currys, which is Dell was a shooter, Steph is a shooter. It doesn't need to be even the same positions. It doesn't even need to be the same positions, bro. It could
I
just be
think-
that they're in the league in a different way. Like, no way Shaq's son right now, he's probably sophomore, junior right now in college. So then he's doomed if he's coming in any type of expectations to fill his dad's 7'3", size 21 shoes. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say this. Go ahead, my friend. My bad, Joe. Finish up.
right now, go ahead.
Well, I look at it like this. I equate it to these great athletes, these great coaches. You ever notice that they don't make great coaches? Like great athletes very rarely make great coaches.
Great
Because
point.
what they do is one of the reasons, and I feel like it translates, and very few parents are able to do this. A lot of times, even in regular everyday life, a lot of times people treat their kids as a reflection of themselves. All right. And when you're an elite athlete and your son or daughter is not living up, and you don't understand how what came naturally to you doesn't come naturally
It's
to
not
them.
coming natural to them, right?
Right. You don't know how to coach that. Right.
That's a fact.
Whereas if you're an athlete where you were middle of the road, you were good, you were more in it, not so much because of your natural skill, but
Right.
you were more in it because of your love of the game and understanding of the game, the IQ. That's when
Right.
I feel like you're able to now translate that to your children. The intricacies.
To piggyback off of that, Mike, before I forget, Steve Kerr said it in an interview. If you're a star player always in the game, you never see the schemes on the bench and on the sideline.
Right.
So they benefited from actually being on the bench, getting to see schemes and getting to see how coaches transitioned out of their original plan into the new plan and stuff like that. So he said that was a main aspect and how come he was able to get that good at coaching. But one more thing before we jump off of it, I just wanted to say shout out to the moms, because the dads are gone playing their sport.
Yeah.
And it's normally the mom that's there that's having to build up these kids. The dad is an idea you see him on TV. You know what I'm saying? But the moms is the ones that's there home with the kids. So I didn't want to forget to give the moms a shout out.
Of course.
Nice. What do you call it? All right. So now, new segment alert. And I know you guys can appreciate this. Everybody here has something that they want to trash. You all have something. So here's the game. Each of us gets 2 minutes to pick a player, league, team, whatever it is you want, and you trash it. Okay? When you're done, at the end of your 2 minutes, the rest of the panel is going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on whether we feel like you made your argument.
Right.
All right? So,
here we go.
PD, El Schefter, who you got? Who you trashing?
So, I made a decision not to trash the Giants because I wasn't going to waste my emotions. I think we're all agreeing that they are that. So, I was just kind of thinking, I know the season, the NFL season is still going, but this is the second year in a row they do this, and I'm trying to figure out who the hell the Arizona Cardinals are. They start off hot last year, start off hot this year, and then they start to peaking, and then they start coming down. Kyler Murray gets injured, they win without him. All right, so what does that say? You have DeAndre Hopkins before he got hurt but he wasn't doing anything, even in the beginning of the year. Even when Arizona was playing well, like, he wasn't dominating. He wasn't DeAndre Hopkins that you saw all those years in Houston. He wasn't that. You see them develop 2 solid running backs. Both can pass, both can catch passes, both can run. Kyler Murray can run and he can throw. The defense was good, but then, like, all of a sudden it's like they forget what they were. So I'm trying to figure out, like now, I don't have them as any type of contender anymore. I think they're a pretender because you're repeating the same thing. Now we're going to see what happens this weekend with Dallas. This is their litmus test right now, and see, what are they? Because Dallas, is at least on the offensive side, is finally, getting their heads out of their own ass and remembering what they have and using it. So we're gonna see, but I don't know. I don't know what they are, and I can't put them with the other 4 teams in the NFC, in terms of contenders right now. And you are what we thought you were, to quote Denny Green from years ago. You are the Arizona Cardinals, a perennial losing franchise, and you have the opportunity to be winners, and you can't seem
to put it together.
Yeah,
true.
So that's kind of my trashing teams.
We are time. I want to say something, Pablo. That was the most polite trashing I've ever seen in my life.
That shit came with a
I thought this was
it didn't stink. It didn't stink, bro. I felt like roses were giving out right there, bro.
Exactly.
I was keeping it PG. I didn't want to.
All right, so
one thing. It doesn't match it doesn't match because right now with the glove and the tank top, Pablo looks like that guy in a movie who's going to jump you in the alley when you're walking home.
I don't know, but it looks like he's wearing Arizona Cardinals attire right now too. So
I'm walking the other direction.
It looks like he's a fan more than anything.
He looks like a member of Cobra Kai. All right, here we go.
They might have cost me some money this season.
Eagle Fang.
All right, here we go. All right, so guys, ready? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Did he make his argument?
Thumbs up.
I'm going thumbs up. I agree.
Thumbs up. I agree with everything he said.
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely agree.
A couple of weeks ago, we thought we knew who Arizona was. Now we're like, bro, they can go either way very quick. I don't know.
He's right too, because they have a young quarterback who's ascending, but the rest of their team is not young.
No,
they need to maximize these next 2 years or so. I agree with him.
All right, Trey.
Who you got?
Who you trashing?
New York teams suck, bro. All professional New York teams suck. You want me to tell you why? Because the owners are too rich and the damn fans are too loyal. So the owners don't need to do shit. to get the fans in the seats because the fans gonna go in the damn seats anyway, and they don't need to do shit to make more money because they're freaking loaded. So at the end of the day, we're gonna suck for 10 more years until we get some draft picks that can make the teams better.
Fucking A.
Let me tell you guys something, man. I'm tired of being in a city where we can't have a goddamn parade at the end of a season, bro. I'm tired of the shit. The city is too big.
If my thumb could be bigger, I'm telling you, bro, it'd be up to like right over here, man.
The city's way too big, bro. It's way too many resources in New York City. The Madison Square Garden, God forbid, is still considered the mecca of basketball. How?
Because of everything else.
Because of the 80s and the 70s, Bernard King. I'm tired of it, man. They need to get something together. The fans need to boycott. Something got to happen because these owners are way too comfortable, bro. There's no way you can tell me that that's the best product we could put on the field, ice, whatever you want to call it, bro. There's no way you can tell me that's it.
Ice.
That a team from New Jersey could come over here and start styling on the perennial New York NBA team.
Yo, what about the Metro soccer team, bro? They won. The New York team, bro. They just won.
Give me a damn break.
He's like, give me a break.
Give me a break with that shit, bro. These guys suck, bro. All of them suck. And it's time that something happens. Everybody's too comfortable filling up the Garden, and we're getting mediocre games and mediocre products on the court, mediocre products on the field from the Giants and the Jets, the Yankees and the Mets. I don't even want to get into them. Come on, man.
That's you're giving them too much props with mediocre.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be a little nice and shit.
No need to be nice, man. It's been trash. It's been trash.
Yeah, it's been Javi. And man, come on, man. Like the last one that went to for the Giants. That's it? That's the last one?
Past 10 years has been trash for the Giants, man.
Come on, man. We gotta get it together, bro.
All right, that's your time right there. So I kind of know, everybody, I'm giving them two thumbs up.
Actually, I'm giving the New York teams this, but
Thanks, fellas. Thank you. I had to get that shit.
What you got? Your 2 minutes. What you got?
Mine's not going to be so polite, all right? Gary Sanchez. Fuck Gary Sanchez. Okay?
Bro.
That's simple as to be, bro. You are a piece of turd. Like, that's even being a fucking nice statement. Like, I have pieces of turd that come out of my ass that I probably have more class than this dude, bro. For real. I'm a former catcher. You cannot fucking catch a ball. You cannot block a pitch. You cannot frame a pitch. You cannot fucking hit. What are you good for, bro? Like, what are you good for? Seriously. What are you good for? Can you fucking nickname when you hit a home run every once in a while so John Sterling can call it out? The fucking Sanchino. Fuck him. Fuck Sanchino. And fuck Gary Sanchez. I'm done. That's it. I don't need my whole thing. Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you something. He's been a weak link as a defensive catcher.
For years. And they signed him again. They signed him again. Like, what the fuck?
I was sure they were going to make a move. And the move they were going to make was to fucking replace that, at least as a defensive catcher. Now, right. I'm not a huge baseball guy, right? I'm not a guy that's going to sit there and talk about framing or whatever. But when I watch the Yankees, he stands out as a dude that I'm like, yo, he can't play. What is
this guy sucks, bro. Yeah, he sucks.
Bro. I'll give you the numbers, bro. Fucking 204 last year, 147 the year before, 232. What the fuck? Like, seriously, home runs.
That's terrible, bro.
23 home runs this year. Okay. Oh, great. Oh, wonderful. 10 the year before, 34 was the 1 year. But fuck that. We can get anybody to hit 34 home runs. I just didn't want a guy that can fucking frame a pitch, bro. Seriously. Maybe block a ball that's in the dirt. Maybe work a pitching staff. Maybe that would be good. I don't need him. He's gone. He's garbage. Fuck him. Get him out. Put him in the bathroom.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I got 2 thumbs up for that shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got 2 thumbs up for that shit.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it on that one. I'm definitely with it. All right, Javito, what do you got? It should be good.
You see, this is why I started small, because I knew these guys were going to get emotional and personal. I could have done the Mets, but I'm numb to their fucking ineptitude, and I said I don't want to waste my energy on the Giants.
But the whole thing is this, man. Like, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to be like a Met fan. You know what I'm saying? With the Giants, like. Giants were my bread and butter. They were my first team that gave me a championship. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking more and more like the freaking damn Mets. I don't know what the Mets are gonna do with Steve Cohen. I know it looks like he's really trying, but I'm just looking at the Giants right now, and I'm just there it's looking like that, like the Wilpons type of deal right now, But anyways. It's John Mara that's got me really annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, why are you getting involved with personnel and coaching decisions? You're not a GM, my man. You are the owner. I get that. And you know what? You're the one that pays the bills. I get that, man.
Welcome to my nightmare.
I was gonna say that's a page out of Jerry Jones right there.
Yeah, but Jerry Jones makes the playoffs, though. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
That's true. Playoffs.
That's true.
Right now, we've made the playoffs one time in the past 10 years.
Look, I'm on it.
And that's because he got involved a little bit more lately. So I'm just saying, I think we hit it up on the chat.
Yeah.
We went from bad. You know what I'm saying? When Jerry Reese was making decisions. Once Jerry Reese got taken out of the picture and Gettleman got hired, I feel like Mara got involved a little bit more with these decisions as well. And I'm just there why are you getting involved? You suck. You're horrible. You know what I'm saying? What made you decide to hire Jason Garrett? Because that wasn't a Gettleman. That was Mara all the way.
What was that?
Yeah, it was.
And now on top of that, you're already making decisions for next year. You're saying, there's leaked reports saying that Judge is coming back and we're going to keep Jones. And in my head, I'm like, if I'm any GM outside of the Giants,
why would I want to come here?
Why would I want to go there right now?
Exactly.
You know and I'm just saying that's John Mara creating a shittier situation. Instead of shit, it's diarrhea. It's just worse.
Yeah, he's trying to put the narrative. He's trying to put that narrative so that he can hire from within the next GM and keep.
That's what's bothering me. You know what I'm saying? Enough with the ties to the Giant organization, man.
His father never interfered. Wellington Mara never, ever did that.
The league got involved though when Wellington was the owner, because him and the other guy they were going to kill each other basically.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So that's when they hired Ron Young. The commissioner told him, "Hey, you might want to get this guy involved." You know what I'm saying? And they did. But right now, it just feels like Mara's just a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? And there's just nothing. There's just no other way that I could put it. You put a proud franchise that it felt like decade after decade. You know what? There was a Super Bowl run. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm just there damn, that doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon, because it feels like we just gotten worse as time has gone on, especially with him.
And that's your time right there. Your 2-minute rant. All right, guys. Everybody walk around. What are we thinking? I think you're right.
I gotta give it to him, man. I give it to him.
He's right. I don't have the insight that you guys have on the Giants.
I'm happy, bro. Let him stay there. I love it.
Of course.
The decay that you see, the steady. How about this? How about there's some talent on that team that's going to waste, man.
Bro, don't you tell that's what it's driving me crazy. It's can we get some competent people in here already, man?
Yeah.
Stop doing this.
All right. AK, you got your 2 minutes. Let us know.
Easy money.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, man. I just love everybody, and I want to be nice and kind to everybody. So it's a tough thing to do for me. I'm from Jersey, so that's not true at all. I'm gonna go after Baker Mayfield. I know that's the popular thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But this is the Cleveland has arguably as talented a roster as anybody in the entire league.
Trash.
The guy is under 3,000 passing yards so far going into week 17. I mean,
Nope. Did he freeze up?
Taylor Heineke has more than 3,000 passing yards.
Pass me a Heineken.
Mr. Heineke has more than 2 passing yards. a really bad QB draft in general at the top. When you were looking at guys like Darnold and Mayfield, I just think that with Cleveland as a franchise, you have two teams that are well run with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. You're always going to battle with them. They're never going to be horrendous, even on down years. And then Cincinnati's now up. So you got to be able to come with it every week. And if you can't come, I saw those games last week, and the Cleveland, I mean, what Mayfield was doing, I don't get to see him play that often, but it was a travesty. So he, you know, as much as I did want to go Ben Simmons, I thought talking about a quarterback who's a number one pick who's up for a rookie extension, that we don't know what's going to happen. And it's almost like in this NFL, you almost have to give it to him, because even having like a 15th to 20th best player with a roster that loaded, what are you going to do? Try and draft somebody new? You think Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson's trying to bang down the door to get to Cleveland?
Nobody.
Or Deshaun, right here, waiving that no trade clause. So, you know, I hate to do this to the lovely city of Cleveland, and I'm sure the lovely Manziel family. Baker Mayfield family, but
they're both the same.
I'm going Baker Mayfield. I'm going Baker Mayfield as a strong one, and definitely I'm also pretty disappointed in the coronavirus. I thought that he left and he came back, and it's just
he's got two brothers,
He's an abuser.
Delta and
He's a
Delta
narcissist.
and Omarion. Oh, I'm kind
And Hovid's the new married.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be MVP of the league, and he played with Tovid for half the year. So
No, he's got Tovid. That's right.
Jonathan Taylor, baby.
All right, so
now
guys,
Jersey,
what do you
baby.
think? Last
JT.
people impacted by it. What do you guys think of AK's argument with Baker Mayfield?
I thought he was trash anyways. As soon as he said Baker Mayfield, it was like thumbs up regardless right there, bro.
Yeah, thumbs up for anything negative on Baker Mayfield.
He's trash.
Yeah, I never saw the hype on him, right? And then you see him with the lineup that he has, the offensive weapons that he had.
He's trash.
And they try to sell him as like a Brett Favre gunslinger.
Well,
And he's not.
because of
He's
the
a Trent
commercials.
Dilfer.
Because of the commercials.
Yeah, he's a Trent Dilfer though. He's a game manager.
Sucks.
I think they need to keep him as a game manager because he's
Tell
actually
that to Skip Bayless and Orlovsky.
But I don't think he's got that.
Yeah,
he's got
but
that
no.
football intelligence that even Dilfer has. Because you can tell Dilfer can assess, even though he didn't have the physical skill sets. I think Baker's playing backlot football. If you're gonna compare to Favre, that's about as close to Favre as he's gonna be. Okay, he likes to play backlot football, but Favre is a different, level of backyard football.
Right.
He's more than that. So he's just a really, really, really poor man's version of Brett Favre.
Pablo killed it. He's right, because this guy's not even a real game manager. You have the best rushing attack in the NFL, arguably. That's all you have to do. They're not asking you to do more.
run the ball all day.
Pretty much.
Yep, I agree. All right, so
you got?
everybody
What you got,
thumbs up. All right, I'm gonna trash boxing, but specifically the fact that because the best is not fighting the best, they've given a window of opportunity for a fucking asshole like Jake Paul to come in and look like a legitimate moneymaker within a sport that I love so much.
He's killing it, bro.
They literally let this guy, right? And Dana White called him out. So he calls out Dana White and says, if I could test you, because you're a cokehead, if I could test you for 2 years, for cocaine, whatever. Dana White comes out, no problem, as long as I can test you for steroids. And I'm like, there is no doubt in my mind, right, that he's on something because nobody's testing him. Number two, he's lying about the numbers. His Woodley Jake Paul fight part 2 flopped. What do you call it? Sales were down. But what pisses me off is that
he's a name?
Is that boxing left the door open for it.
That he's
Crawford
a name.
is not fighting Spence. What do you call it? Canelo is not fighting Benavidez or the guys at the elite level at his weight class. The guys they're not making the fights that the people want to see, allowing for this window to open, this door to open for this travesty they call boxing. That's not boxing, bro. Now, the next potential fight is Conor McGregor. It's a circus. It's WWE. It's no good. I don't like it. I can't stand it. And it pisses me off. But I'm more pissed off at boxing because they left the door open. They left the gap there for this guy. I'm not even mad at Jake Paul. He's a businessman. He said, "Oh shit, you're gonna leave me? You're gonna leave me? Okay, cool. Boom. I'm gonna take advantage, and I'm gonna do what I do." You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at boxing. Boxing left the door open, and there's been rumors and potential, and these guys are supposed to fight, and they're gonna fight. And now Crawford left Bob Arum so he could fight Errol Spence. But the politics of boxing is killing it. And what it keeps doing, it keeps giving opportunities to these quasi fight sport type bullshit. And I can't stand it. And that's my argument on why boxing pisses me off.
Yeah,
And
I'll
why I
agree.
say
I'll
boxing.
agree with you that boxing definitely thumbs up on the left door. Because remember, our first show we talked about was what these guys were doing, good or bad or long lasting, right?
Mhm.
We know the purists of that that love boxing and weren't gonna like it. We know that. And Jake Paul is not trying to get those guys, the purists of boxing. He doesn't give a shit about them. He just wants his followers that he built up and casuals and all that. And and that's what he's doing. And he's using boxing as the tool to do it. And that's why he's not fighting real boxers, because he knows the moment you get even a mid-card guy, level at whatever weight class, he's at or whatever, he's going to get knocked the fuck out more than likely, sooner rather than later. And that's why he's not doing it. But you're right. Your argument is totally legit. We talked about it in the first episode. Boxing has to adapt, and they haven't done it so far. Right?
I feel like they're trying more now. And I would say this, while I agree with Mike's point, certainly, this Jake Paul thing, it's just even look at high school, the two weakest kids fight, people still want to go watch. You know what I mean? Even if the tough kids are fighting, it's just, that's our society. You anybody who knows, who's a known name, gets in a ring to fight somebody, there's going to be, if Jay-Z would have boxed Nas, you'd have 10 million views, right?
Yeah.
This is just, he knows that. He knows people want to see fights. He likes to train, and he figured he'd make some money off it. But I do think boxing is doing a little bit better, and maybe I'm speaking too soon, but there's more exciting fights that I've looked forward to in the last year than in the last 5 years combined.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't make my argument.
No, but your argument was that boxing is not adapting.
It just left the door open. That's what bothers me the most.
Yeah.
But
your flaws on boxing are 100%. No question.
Right. So, Pablo,
Yep.
this is exciting. You tracked our Thursday night picks.
Yep.
Let us know, how bad is it?
It's actually not that bad.
Yeah,
In its totality, and I'll get to the total for everyone at the end. So like I said, I tracked our picks just for context. To make sure we set the proper context. Javi and I were the only ones that picked every episode that we were on. Obviously, other people couldn't come in an episode or two for whatever the reason was. Uzi was with us in the beginning for the first half, a little over the first half. Jen and Sean have joined us late. So obviously the amount of picks everyone did is not the same.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's about your skill set and predicting what you do predict. So with that being said, we'll start with dropping dimes. Out of 13 total picks, you went 10-3.
Wow.
All right.
So 77%,
Not bad.
correct
Okay.
pick percentage. Myself, I had 14 picks. I went 9-5. So that was 64%. Next up is Javito, 14 total picks, 7-7.
That's the 29-29, baby.
29.
Yeah.
I tried for a freaking tie, man.
Dre, 13 total picks. He was 8-5, 62%.
nice.
AK, 12 total picks. He was 5-7, 42%.
We're going against the grain.
Uzi, he had done a total of 8 total picks. He was 4-4.
Okay.
And then Jen joined us, late, and she has 5 picks total that she's done with us, and she's 2-3. And then Sean joined us about 4 weeks ago, and he's 3-1 with 4 total picks.
Okay, sure.
Ooh, 75%.
Yep. So that's a total of 83 picks that we've made for Thursday Night Football, and we have a complete combined record of 48-35.
It's not
Over
bad, man.
500, baby.
So,
We're all
58%.
That's like 58%.
58%.
It's better
That
than
make
the
the playoffs
Giants.
this year.
It's better than the Giants and the Jets combined.
That would make the playoffs this year. Over 500. All right.
So,
Well, Guys,
That's what
it's been a blast, man. This season, obviously it took a lot for us to find our voice. We had some changes, people in, out, new additions, great additions. We also missed the guys that were here earlier, like Boosie. Like with anything, to take a what do you call it, a bite out of our man AK and his Philadelphia 76ers, we got to trust the process, man. We got to trust the process. This is the process of learning our voice, continuity, consistency, growing together, understanding, developing our topics, putting in the effort, which everybody, every week, I got to give you nothing but props. Everybody always comes prepared, kind of gives their 2 cents, lets us know what's going on. So this is a process, and I hope that the people that watch, and not everybody watches while it's live. A lot of people, when you look at the views later on, you'll see our group is maybe 850, not even 1,000 people. And we do get a large percentage of people that actually go back and watch our videos, which is interesting. Welcome, guys. This is to our audience. I want to say thank you, but this is us at the ground floor. This is the caterpillar before it turns into the butterfly. This is us in the basement. I hope that you ride with us on the bus and you stick around for the limo, because this is growing and we're finding our voice and we're finding our niche in this thing we call sports. For each and every one of us, we've made it very clear that sports holds a very important part of our life. It's our escape from reality. It's where we go to get away from life's everyday stress. It's where COVID can't touch us. And I ask that you guys continue to take this ride with us. We're going to end our season, our first season today. We will be back. I'll be posting and letting everybody know as soon as we come back, stronger, better, more prepared, more enthusiastic, with more energy. And I promise you, when you come back, you're going to see the evolution of the Sports is My Love Language podcast. With that, anybody have anything else to say to closing remarks?
Nah, man. See them next season.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And with that,
can we take us out with a song and Dre driving in the background, bro? That would be like the
woke up
coolest
this
out.
morning,
That's the coolest
myself
outro ever, bro.
Don't stop believing.
don't stop. All right, so, with that, ladies and gentlemen.
Dre looked like he in the first scene of Belly.
Oh,
On his way to the
shit.
club.
You know what should be playing? It should be Jay-Z's song "You Belong to the City" as he's driving.
You belong.
However do you want it?
You look cooler. You look cooler than Matthew McConaughey in that commercial, that Buick commercial.
Oh,
Bro.
that Buick, man.
Seriously, bro.
All right. Okay, so, ladies
everybody.
and gentlemen, we want to say thank you to everybody who stepped in, shared our content. Jen, we love you. Thank you for being a part of our team. We want to thank everybody for jumping in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your boy Dropping Dimes. This is my crew. PD Pablo, a.k.a. El Schefter. This is my man Dre, my man the ref, Sean. We got Javito. We got AK. We got the First Lady, Jen. Shout out to UCG. We want to thank you guys. Once again, this is the Sports is My Love Language podcast, and we are out of here. See you next season. Peace.
Peace.